So I do feel like I just need space between me and Molly for the day. My number one is like her number one. And then she comes in last night and she's like, my number one told me I was his number one.
I've never had this problem of watching Love is Blind, but this season is just, I don't know. Something about it is just off-putting. It's taking me forever to get through the season, but I will get there. Hopefully it will pick up once they leave the pods. And it's the audacity for Lauren to be upset that why is Molly talking about Dave? What did she expect her to do? For Lauren to be territorial, you're on a show where you date multiple people. And that's part for the cause. You have to be open to that idea. You can't come there and then start being territorial. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 8, Episode 4. So you have Ben and Sarah go on a date, and they're talking. Sarah is the one, if I remember very well, who said her sister was gay, so she wanted someone who sort of aligned themselves with her beliefs. And so she is talking to Ben and she asks him, did you vote in the last election? He said no. Did you what are your beliefs? What do you think about things like Black Lives Matter and stuff? And he is sort of and ahhing all over the place. And for me, that should have answered all the questions that she needed answered. If she is genuinely looking for someone, and if she's genuinely after sort of creating a relationship with someone, then this should have been her answer, because this man is saying he didn't vote, even though he knew it was important to women for people to vote. He's not into things like Black Lives Matter because he keeps to himself, and as long as something is not affecting him, then he's not bothered. And if you're an empath, you don't want to be with someone who comes across as self-centered. So I think that should have been her answer. She was, yes, demoralized. For him to say, I think along the same path as you. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He was just saying that because he felt bad after she had asked so many questions, not because this is his belief. And so for him to sort of turn around and say to her, I think the same way you do. I believe the same things that you believe in. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Him not voting should have told you enough. Him turning around and telling you that, he's not into equality or equality movements, that should have told you what you needed to know. And that should be enough information for you to say, well, I think we need to end things. He ran to the guys and was celebrating, oh, we had an amazing date and now I have a girlfriend. And she is sort of having a conversation with Virginia and saying, I'm doubtful of whether this would be a good connection because we agreed on everything else but this. And so he's going to tell her everything she wants to hear. And in that case, she needs to keep it stepping. So you have Madison go on a date with Mason. And Mason is telling her that, he really likes her. He can see a future with her. And is more or less implying that she's going to be his girlfriend. And she's very sort of dismissive and very standoffish. And it's like, I said this before, Madison was really trying very hard at the start to make sure that one of the guys would sort of pick her or would be interested in her. She asks him, what do you think I look like? And he's sort of saying, I think you dropped a gorgeous. And she says, yeah, that's true. And it's like, we're not supposed to be talking about physical appearances. You told him that you wouldn't confirm or deny anything. So why are you doing that? Are you still trying to dangle him, knowing that he's not your number one? Because when she leaves the pod, she reveals that he's her number two, which means that Alex is most probably her number one. I think Madison is looking for confirmation or for reassurance from the wrong places. And this is why she's in this situation whereby she's dangling two guys on a string, making sure that they're all interested in her. And she has the ability to choose who she wants. And it's like, that's not a good idea. This is going to end in tears because as much as he is keen on you, if you play him, he looks like he's going to play you even harder. And then you're going to end up crying. And I think this is why she says she's been cheated on several times, because it seems she does this thing where she wants someone to show her love, affection, and attention. And then once they do, she takes a step back. But that's just could be my own judgment. You have, Mason go on a date with Meg. Meg apparently is his only other he's only connection left in the pods. And so they're talking and he's very dismissive. And it's really sad because you have the situation whereby it seems Madison really likes Alex, but Alex doesn't seem to really like her that much. Mason really likes Madison, but Madison doesn't really like him that much. And then you have Meg, who really likes Mason, but Mason doesn't seem keen on her. He seems to just be sort of keeping her along just in case Madison goes to somebody else. And so it's sad that they did speak about what does love mean to you. I like that, Meg told Mason that if you decide that I'm not your person, I want you to tell me. I don't want you to just not turn up. I want you to tell me that I'm not your person. I found my person, and let's keep it stepping. So I wish he was honest with her. I really do. I wish he was honest with her. You have the girls in the women's quarters. Meg is sort of saying to the girls, "Oh, it's amazing that we're all going to leave here engaged." And Madison goes, "Oh, I find it strange that the person that I'm talking to, one of his other connections, every time she leaves, that she's very giddy about their conversations. Yet he tells me I'm the best, blah 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 blah, and that's off-putting for me." And it's like, I don't get the territorial aspect whereby people are very territorial over someone to say that, oh, why is everybody else, attracted to him, or why do they like him? What did you expect? You came on Love is Blind, and that's to be expected. So you have Alex and Madison go on a date. And so because their last date was very heavy, where she was telling him that, there are days when she is not her best self, where she just she just shuts down. And so he said he wanted to take time and sort of process it. He didn't want to come across as harsh, but he wanted a moment to just think and process exactly what she was telling him. He thinks he's moved on and he's happy. He thinks it's something he can cope with. She then reveals that, hearing his voice gives her peace, and that her other dates, they really haven't provided that for her, because the other person she's seeing is Mason. They get to this agreement, to this space whereby they agree to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's like, so are you saying you're shutting everybody else down? Is that what you mean by saying you're boyfriend and girlfriend? I would have assumed would have gone to proposal, because we've never heard anyone say you're my boyfriend. Did we? I don't think I've ever heard anyone in previous seasons say that they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Anyway, so you have Alex celebrating with the guys, and you have Madison sort of telling the girls. And Meg picks up on this and says, oh, she's going to break up, because Madison was saying she's going to break up with her number two. And Meg is saying that I don't want to be an option for Mason just because she's broken up with him. I know she was dating Mason. And so if she says she's now boyfriend and girlfriend with Alex, that means she's breaking up with Mason. And it's like, what do you expect, buddy? You'll never know the truth. You will definitely never know the truth, because either way, he was saying you weren't his number one. And I think if he wants to stay on the show, he's going to make you his number one, and he's going to propose to you, and he's going to convince you that, you've always been his number one. With Alex is celebrating with the guys, and then he confides in Devin that, the guy Madison is going to break up with is Mason, and Mason is getting ready for his date. He has no idea at all what's happening, and it's like, poor thing, he's about to be broken up with. But I feel like people at times put a lot of emphasis on these dates and on staying on the show for no apparent reason, and putting themselves through trauma for no reason at all. If someone doesn't like you, amazing, go home. If they were meant for you, they will find you. I always refer to Zach and Bliss. Zach thought, Marina, what was her name? Marina or something was was the best option for him, only to realize that Bliss was his person, and he proposed to Bliss. They've got a child, they're living happily. So I feel like if his number one was Madison, he needs to break up with Meg and stop wasting Meg's time. Anyway, next date we have is Brittany. She goes on a date with Devin, and they're sort of chatting. I have a feeling they were each other's number one up until that point, because you have Brittany reveal that it sounds like she's bisexual. So she's dated women in the past. Devin doesn't seem happy about this, because he sort of says, he still loves her the same way he did before he found this out. And it's like, nah, I don't think so. I think in his mind he's already trying to think, is this something I can deal with? Because he asked her, so does this mean that if you see any person you like, you're going to have your head turned? And she says she's not polyamorous because they are the ones that have multiple partners, and she's saying she's monogamous, so whoever she's with is the person she's riding with. And for me it's a bit iffy because I get his concern, but at the same time, if she had said she had dated multiple guys before, would he be that nervous, or is he just being nervous because of the fact that it's someone of the same sex that she's been with? So after his date with Brittany, you have Devon sort of speaking to the guys and sort of telling them about the fact that she said she's had relationships with ladies. And he's sort of trying to process that. With Brittany, on her part, she's busy speaking to Virginia, and she's speaking to Meg, and she's sort of, no, she wasn't speaking to Meg, she was speaking to Madison, and she was telling them that, I've just told my date that I've had encounters with women, and so he said he needs time to process it. And Virginia is getting the inside scoop because she already has a connection with Devon, so she is trying to get the inside information so she knows where she stands, because at this point it seems most of the people only have one connection left in the pod, so they're trying to suss each other out to see who is with whom and what's happening. Anyway, Virginia then goes for a date with Devon. Devon decides to talk to her about, his addiction, because apparently he had an injury, a basketball injury. He told the same information to Brittany, and I don't know whether this was his way of sort of sussing out the girls to see who is more ideal for him. I feel at this point his strongest connection was still Brittany. I think Brittany revealing that she had sexual encounters with women is what put him off, and so he decided because he didn't seem very accepting of that. He was trying to be politically correct. That's the information that I got. And so him confiding and having Virginia cry and whatever, Virginia, I think, is now playing a role because she knows what Brittany has said, and so she is trying to do her best to be chosen, because she said she doesn't care about what's going on between the two of them. All she knows is she wants to leave the pods with Devon, and she sees herself having a future with him. So whatever happens at the end of the day, he is hers to leave with. And it's like, oh my God, this is becoming messy. So you have Taylor have another conversation with Daniel, and she's going on and on. Oh, my mom has this habit whereby she repeats the same story a couple of times, even though she said it. And normally it frustrates me, but now being here with my dad being very unwell, I've sort of got a newfound appreciation for my mom, because I've realized that, there is the risk that I could lose her at any time because her dad is sick and is battling cancer. And it's like, okay, I get it. I understand it as someone who's lost parents. So I get where she's coming from. But at the end of the day, I hope she's not using this as part of a ploy to sort of get Daniel to propose to her. Because it seems at this stage, every girl wants a proposal, and people are sort of going out of their way to make sure that their partner knows where they stand and sort of try and cement their connections with whoever they're connected to. Do I see them as a couple? I think they're boring. And I'm surprised that we're still going with them. We haven't had a proposal or had them sort of leave the pods and just say, I haven't found my person, because this has been going on for too long. So you have Molly waiting to go on a date with Dave. Molly, we've known for a while, her only connection in the pods has been Dave, and she's actually been very vocal about how much she really likes Dave. And so for her, it's Dave or going home. And Lauren is in the pods as well, is in the women's lounge as well. She feels some type of way. She's being very territorial, which I don't get, because to her, she thinks that, Molly is saying that she likes Dave out of spite because she doesn't want anyone else to have him. And it's like, that's not what's happening. That is not what is happening. Molly, I think, is giddy. She did ask Lauren, who is your person? And Lauren was very vague about it and wouldn't tell anyone who she was seeing in the pods. So the idea that somehow Molly knows and she's being strategic in how she discusses Dave doesn't make sense. Molly went in the pods. They were talking about rings. They were talking about their connection and how much they really liked one another with Dave. And it's like, so why isn't Dave being honest? He needs to tell this woman so that she's not delulu and she's not sort of assuming that somebody else is doing something out of spite. I actually like Molly. I think she comes across as very, very sweet. She doesn't have that Arena or Micah sort of vindictiveness. She comes across as a very nice person. So after her date, you have Lauren saying to the girls, I don't want to be around Molly because Molly's very giddy and I don't want to see that. And it's like, seriously, you're on a show where you date multiple people. The audacity to think suddenly you would be the only person he talks to or the only person he has a connection with is ludicrous. It's ludicrous because at the end of the day, he is speaking to multiple girls. He's bound to have multiple connections. And it's a matter of him deciding who he wants between you girls. And so if you cannot stomach that, if you don't have the bandwidth to cope with that, then maybe it's time to go home. There's no point in sort of trying to villainize somebody else just because you're not getting what you want. So I really don't know how this will play out. You have, Lauren go on a date with Dave and she reveals that, the other girl that he's talking to was talking about their date and she was talking about how he's going to end things with her and stuff. And it's like, why are we saying this? I get where he's coming from by saying, I don't like when girls are very sort of mean-spirited and stuff, but he has sort of created this monster. He now has buyer's remorse because I think there are girls that he liked at first that he couldn't get a chance with because he was being silly. He was trying to do the Zach thing whereby he was asking girls, what's wrong with you? Now he has the two girls, he has to make a decision. I hope they both say no to him. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 3. Bye guys!